Welcome to the Vault XL. Happy Hump Day, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to this live stream. This is a two-part live bringing you breaking news here in Tennessee. The first story is pertaining to an usher who was attacked in a parking lot at a Nashville area church. Let's get to that commentary. The second part of this live is pertaining to a Knoxville woman who has been accused of orchestrating a plot to kill a man's fiance. She met him on Match.com, and obviously she became irate, finding out that he was moving to Alabama, I guess, to be with this lady. This is a very wicked story right here in the Queen's backyard. And we're going to talk about that discussion. Well, we're going to have a discussion about what happened to this lady and why she went off the edge to orchestrate this plot. She's to appear in federal court tomorrow here in Knoxville, Tennessee. And I will bring you an update pertaining to what happens in court. But let's get started with the usher who was attacked at church. Channel 5 News is the source.
Church usher is recovering from an attack.
Now, this happened at the Cornerstone Church on Old Hickory Boulevard. And Amelia Young's following this from the newsroom this morning. So tell us more about how all this unfolded.
Well, Amy, Ben Metro police say that the 72-year-old victim, he had just gotten out of his car, was walking on his way into church when this man came up to him just before 7 o'clock in the morning and hit him on the head with a pistol. That suspect is 23-year-old D'Angelo Lavender. He was out on probation for a previous aggravated assault conviction. Police say after hitting that usher on the head, the usher was able to grab the gun and toss it away. But that's when Lavender ran to another church member there in the parking lot who was on the phone with 911. He grabbed that phone out of the man's hand and tried to run away. But he was grabbed by a third church member there in the lot and held down until police arrived. On top of being out on probation, police say the car Lavender drove to the church yesterday morning was stolen earlier from Licton Pike. Of course, no details have been released yet if there was any relation or if it was just a random attack that happened in this church parking lot. But Lavender now in the detention center facing a number of charges while that church community trying to regain.
Let me go back a little bit.
A third church member there in the lot and held down until police arrived. On top of being out on probation, police say the car Lavender drove to the church yesterday morning was stolen earlier from Licton Pike. Of course, no details have been released yet if there was any relation or if it was just a random attack that happened in this church parking lot. But Lavender now in the detention center facing a number of charges while that church community trying to regain some peace there. We'll keep you updated with any developments. Back to you.
All right, this is Nashville, Tennessee. Nashville Cornerstone Church looks like a nice-sized church. And perhaps this was deliberate, thinking, hey, maybe I can get some money from somebody. You hear that the car was stolen. Somehow she's saying something about the car and the location. I don't really quite understand what's the correlation, but when I get an update, I will bring it to you. That said, male, African-American male, nice-looking mugshot, matter of factly. He has been detained and is incarcerated at this moment for this assault. And as you also heard, he was out on probation for a previous assault. So you see, he's a busy bee. And I don't know why he went to this church Sunday morning thinking he could attack a person, what he was doing, what was the purpose, why did he steal a car, where did he steal the car from, whose car was it? Was he just out on a spree that morning trying to do what exactly? Get money from people, what? And as you see, he's been in trouble before. Let me bring you some information pertaining to this young male. Thank you for joining me. If you'd like to donate to this great network, $BeGanji 129 Cash App, stickers and chats are welcome during the live stream. Two-part live, everybody. Bringing you breaking news right out of Tennessee. 5 viewing. Slow morning, but that's okay. Yes, the Queen's out early getting this information to the viewing audience. WSMV4 is the source. A man is in jail after he allegedly attacked a church usher with a gun on Sunday at Cornerstone Church. Police said D'Angelo Lavender hit the usher in the head with a gun. The usher was able to get him to drop the gun and keep it away from him. 2 other men were able to restrain Lavender until police arrived. A local pastor said, as times change, church leaders will have to change their way of doing things as well. Bishop Marcus Campbell has guided the church at Mount Carmel for 18 years. At that time, he says he's seen a lot of change. Church used to be a place that people respected. You didn't hear a lot about anybody doing anything with the church, as Campbell said. Now you do. A major consideration for church leaders is making sure people can come and go safely, and that's led to hiring security. We didn't have security here, but we have private security in plain clothes so they won't be noticeable, Campbell said. He said incidents like the one that happened at Cornerstone Church are scary, but that churchgoers shouldn't live in fear. Don't let nobody take your life when we ain't able to get up and go where we want to go and enjoy like we've been able to enjoy worship, praise, like we've been able to worship and praise. We're taking our life away. And I'm just encouraging everybody to live, Campbell said. The bishop said believers need to think of criminals too. For those that are creating these crimes, because for someone to get to that point to feel that way, you know they need prayer and love too. Campbell said, we all need prayer and love. Campbell also had a message for Cornerstone church members. He said for them not to lose hope and continue to serve. And this is someone who is not pastoring the said church where a D'Angelo Lavender attacked an usher. He's just speaking of in general about not losing faith and continuing to go to church. And he's Bishop Marcus Campbell, guiding the church at Mount Carmel for 18 years. So this attack took place at the Cornerstone Church, Nashville. Okay. Very sad. This D'Angelo Lavender, 23. I thought I had another article pertaining to Mr. Lavender in this storyline. Prayers to the usher who was attacked in that parking lot very early in the morning. Sounds very deliberate to be out at that time of the morning, but that's the whole point. Crime has no timeline. People go out and exact crimes all times of day. This appears to be a nice-sized church, so perhaps he thought that, the people going there had money, and maybe that was the plan, was to try to get his way into the church. I can't say, naturally, I don't have all the information, but, I'll subdue somebody, try to get a way to get in. Maybe he had been watching this church. I do not know. He just saw somebody going in early, and maybe that was the plan, was to try to get into the church. I'm not really sure of what his plans were, but he did attack this elderly person. And I'm going to also read you Nashville.gov statement pertaining to this information. D'Angelo Lavender, 23, is jailed on multiple criminal charges after he inexplicably attacked a 72-year-old usher in the parking lot of Cornerstone Church on Old Hickory Boulevard at 6:45 a.m. by hitting him in the head with a pistol. The victim had just parked his car and was headed toward the church building when he said a stranger, Lavender, ran up to him, said nothing, and hit him in the head with a pistol. The victim tussled with Lavender, causing him to drop the gun. The victim picked it up and tossed it into his car to keep it away from Lavender. It was quick thinking on this older man's part. Lavender then approached another church member in the parking lot who was on his cell phone with 911. Lavender told that 50-year-old victim that he wanted to use his phone. He refused to let him. Lavender grabbed the phone out of the man's hand and tried to run, but not before the phone's owner and a third church member, a 64-year-old man, physically restrained him and put him down on the grass until police arrived. The car Lavender drove to the church, a 2007 Model Ford, was stolen earlier Sunday from a Licton Pike driveway. Lavender, who is presently on probation for a 2020 aggravated assault conviction, is now being held without bond on a probation violation, warrant, and charges of aggravated assault for hitting the usher in the head, unlawful gun possession by a convicted felon, auto theft, vandalism, and marijuana possession. And D'Angelo Lavender, 23, has a really, really ugly mug shot where he's mean mugging, tattoo on the neck. Do not know if that's a gang sign on his neck, left side of his neck. Don't really care. To me, he's a bum because, one, you're stealing cars, you're on probation from a 2020 conviction for assault, and then you have the audacity to go on God's holy soil, assaulting an elderly person, and then trying to steal a phone from another man. And by the grace of God, these men had the tenacity to take him down. Because imagine if they weren't strong enough to hold him down. There's no telling what else he could have done to any of these persons. So prayers for the 72-year-old that was hit with the gun. He could have blanked out, went into a coma, seizure, anything. And this is what happens when the courts give you a chance to redeem yourself or give you a bond, bail. You go back out and do the same thing you went in originally. So you see, he doesn't have any business out walking around free. Although he is incarcerated now on the violation charge and this current charge, but he didn't have no business walking around. So now we have to ask ourselves, what did he do in the last charge from 2020? What type of assault was that? Gun, knife, battery, what? 23 years of age, this is all he has to do with his time. African-American male. He does need guidance. He does need prayer, as you heard this bishop say in this first article that I read. The criminals need prayer too, exactly. Because you can make a mistake by committing a crime like this and redeem yourself. And that's what he should have been doing. Instead of catching another charge, he should have been trying to redeem himself, better himself, get an education, go to school, get a job. So why was he out there lying in wait? You stole a car and then you went to a church at 6-something in the morning to assault someone, and you're already out on probation for a previous assault. So I wonder how long his probation is. Well, it's revoked now. No bond. Amen. Hopefully he will redeem himself. And hopefully he will find God, because that's the only person that can help him. Man can't do anything with him. And I've said this many times pertaining to certain people, certain crimes they commit. You can hoop and holler and cry and moan and pray, dump the Bible. But in the end, it's a personal choice to change one's life. And that's what this child needs, this young person. He needs direction. He needs guidance. And at this point, man can't give it to him. He will have to find it on his own, and he will only be able to find it through God. And hopefully when he goes up before the judge will find him guilty and possibly give him a nice little sentence where he can sit in that prison and think about his ways, error of his ways, and change his life. I do not know if he's an addict, a drug addict, an alcoholic, but he did have possession of marijuana. So one would wonder, my goodness, usually marijuana has people subdued, not out robbing people, stealing cars. So is he under the influence of narcotics? It's neither here nor there now because he's in jail without bond. Amen. That's the said information coming out of the Nashville, Tennessee area. 23-year-old assaulted a 72-year-old male in the parking lot at the Cornerstone Church. Subdued by other church members, elderly at that. Amen. Now currently in jail. Topic number 2. We have a little dirty bird in our area. What love, lust, obsession can do to the human spirit. This is a cautionary tale that you're about to hear of what can go bump in the night when you become infatuated with another human being. This message is to the ladies, men as well, that when you see a sign that things are not going your way with another person, in a courtship, relationship, friendship, pursuing a person, leave it alone. They're lying, they're deceiving you, they have another person, they're married, they're engaged, they don't want to talk to you, don't want to deal with you, don't want to date you, don't want to have any relations with you. Leave them alone. Don't call them, don't bother them, don't text them, don't visit them, don't stalk them, and do not bother anybody that they are related to, entangled with. Let me bring you this new crazy story out of my area. Thank you for joining me. Hello, Pen 10 Jackie. Thank you all for joining me. Please go to my community board to catch up on the latest events, polls, and updates. Let's start with News Nation. Tennessee woman charged in murder for hire scheme. Morning in America is the source. This content was uploaded 2 days ago. Thank you for joining me. We have to get our emotions in check, ladies. We cannot let entanglements blur our common sense.
One count of murder for hire. Investigators say that Melody Sasser tried to hire a hitman to kill the new wife of a man that she met on Match.com. She's accused of paying almost $10,000 in Bitcoin to who she thought was a dark web assassin from a website called Online Killers Market. However, it was all set up by law enforcement. News Nation law and justice analyst and FBI agent, or retired FBI agent, Jennifer Coffin-Dapper is here live. I guess once an FBI agent, always an FBI agent. Thank you, Jennifer, for being here. So investigators actually are saying that Melody Sasser did not take it well when this man that she was interested in told her he was marrying another woman. It's interesting, though. She was going to take up the woman and not him.
Yes, it's always interesting, right? They have sort of this skewed view that if they get the individual that's
out of the way,
rival,
right,
if they somehow get rid of them, that the person that's their love interest is somehow going to change their mind and become interested in them. So we see it all the time.
How common is it for the FBI to actually catch somebody who is trying to hire an assassin? We've heard about this. It feels like we're replaying a story that we see every now and again. Someone goes online, tries to find someone who will do the dirty work for them. But is it really something that the FBI pays attention to?
Absolutely. These websites are set up very, secretively, if you will, in the dark web. And it's so interesting because they get people to pay this money, right, to hire somebody to kill somebody. And then they keep the money, and that person can't go forward to law enforcement because, that they got ripped off, that their person was never killed. But
very good point.
Followed very closely by law enforcement. And in cases like this, where you have many overt acts, you have this $9,750 paid. You also have very specific details about what people were driving, where they would be. All of those details were overt acts and makes for an easy case to be charged.
So the woman posted things like, what did she say? It needs to seem random or accidental about how the hitman should kill this person. Do not want a long investigation. Do you think this was just somebody who had watched too much TV, like Law and Order? Or did she really do her diligence? I mean, obviously, if you hire a hitman, you're not thinking straight.
Right. She wasn't thinking straight. It was totally emotional. But she did the things that were very criminal. And her actions certainly meant, in my opinion, that she fully meant to have this woman killed. And that, of course, is illegal. And there's no doubt in my mind that she was resilient in her cause to have this person's life taken.
Once law enforcement does realize that it's a legitimate hit, this isn't just somebody who's angry and thinking about, like, in a perfect world, I would strangle this person, because, then they would be all over houses across America today. But, in terms of how legit this is, how serious this is, what does the FBI do?
Well, the FBI, first and foremost, lets the individual that's the target know that they are indeed vulnerable to being killed. So that's the first step. The second step is to, of course, give consultation, what you need to do. Stay in your home until this situation can be under control, because sometimes the individual who hires the hitman, if results aren't happening quick, they might take matters into their own hands, go off script, and this person could be in danger. So surveillance and camera techniques are also used to make sure these people are safe.
Well, thankfully, she was not successful. Jennifer Coffin-Daffer, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. News Nation is the source of this information. I'm going to read you a more detailed compilation pertaining to this diabolical scheme. And as you heard in this commentary, you're talking to a random person. Don't see them, don't video chat, sending them money, Bitcoin. I don't know much about Bitcoin. I don't know anything about Bitcoin, basically. But nonetheless, you're sending money to somebody and you can get ripped off. But this was an undercover sting by law enforcement. So you see, when you're talking to people on the internet, and this is the dark web, she's went deep down in the hole to try to get somebody to kill this lady. You're sitting up here conversing with law enforcement to try to get this woman killed. And this woman is stupid. She should know better. You don't solicit anybody to do anything. Move on. He doesn't want you. He's with somebody else. I don't know the circumstances of what they talked about and how they got to this situation, how she got pushed over the edge to want to kill this lady, but she knew something about him and she knew something about her. And we're going to talk about how she came to know something about her and how to find her and where to allegedly send the hit man that was law enforcement instead of an actual person. Thank the Lord for that. MontgomeryAdvertiser.com is the second source. A Tennessee woman has been accused of trying to hire a hitman to kill the wife of a man she met on a dating app, according to a federal criminal complaint. Melody Sasser is charged with murder for hire, according to the complaint filed last month in U.S. District Court in Knoxville. An account linked to Sasser during an investigation used a dark web hosted site to order the killing of a woman in Prattville, Alabama, WATE-TV reported, citing the complaint. A special agent with the Department of Homeland Security received information about the plot from a foreign law enforcement agency on April 27th, and an investigation revealed that Sasser and the woman's husband met through Match.com, the complaint said. When the intended victim was informed of the threat by authorities, she said her husband and Sasser were hiking friends in Knoxville before he moved to Alabama, the complaint said. The victim also said Sasser had harassed and threatened her and her husband since finding out they were engaged, according to the complaint. Sasser of Knoxville was linked to the account that made the order for murder through Bitcoin purchases that were used to send money to the account, the complaint said. An attorney listed for Sasser did not immediately return a call seeking comment. Sasser is expected in federal court in Knoxville on June 8th, WATE-TV reported, and that is our local news station, Channel 6 News. Montgomery Advertiser is the source. Well, now, Miss Sasser, let me talk to you for just a second. You are not the only woman who has ever liked a man, loved the man, been in love with the man, infatuated, obsessed, delusional. Now, obviously, this guy had some type of entanglement, naturally physical, with her, perhaps. They don't go into detail in this article if it was consensual and the two had sex. But let's just say for the record, they had sex. They met as hikers some type of way. This woman knew of her before then husband being friends with her. But somewhere down the line, he's told her he's moving to Alabama to be with this woman, marry her, so on and so forth. Miss Sasser becomes obsessed, delusional, irate, and plots this murder through Bitcoin. Miss Sasser, you are going to probably go to prison. Maybe you just a short while because you didn't get this lady killed by the grace of God. But you're going to probably do some prison time because they know not to let your ass stay free, because you'll probably do it again to some other ignorant bloke who's lying and pretending to be somebody single on a date site. Why couldn't you just move on? Why couldn't you just move on? You obviously had the funds to pay this Bitcoin. I wish I had $9,000, $10,000, because I could think of one thing I would do with the money, and it surely wouldn't be to hire a hitman to get rid of a woman or the man. And as you heard in this commentary, the reporter says to Coffin Daffer, why not kill the man? Because she wants the man. You see, that's the thing about anger. People put their anger towards either the man or the person they think they're with or want to be with. She didn't want to kill the man. She wants the man. She figures, I get her out of the way, he'll then come to me. He'll be with me. He will choose me. No, he won't. He'll probably choose another woman. He probably was on that date site lying to you, telling you he was single. Because it's all crazy. Because, you know, we don't have all the details. If he lied to her and told her he had a woman, no, you know, or not. Let me reread it because I want to make sure I'm giving the correct information. Because obviously this woman knew of her. She says this in the article. Okay. So it says, investigation revealed that Sasser and the woman's husband met through Match.com. She said her husband and Sasser were hiking friends in Knoxville before he moved to Alabama, the complaint said. The victim also said Sasser harassed and threatened her and her husband since finding out they were engaged, according to the complaint. So the couple is now married and he lives in Alabama. So they met up here in Knoxville on a date site. So that should tell you something right there. Okay? He had to have been living a lie to both of the women, because what is he doing on a date site? And this woman says they were hiking friends. So he obviously told this woman they were just friends. So now we got to ask ourselves, did he have a consensual relationship or not? But the gist is Match.com is for people trying to meet people to date, or let's just say hook up. So we can't say that he was on there trying to meet a friend, because why would you need to be on a date site to try to meet a hiking friend? Seems like to me you would get on an app that's geared towards hikers, or a Facebook group for hikers, not a date site. So you have to always think about the information. Match.com is for people to try to find a mate, date. It ain't for hikers USA. Hikers are us. So now you got to ask yourself, did he meet the wife on Match.com? He had to have been dating these women simultaneously, and possibly other women. Now you're going to wait to see who else is going to jump out of a hat and say, oh yeah, I met him on Match.com too. We talked, we texted, exchanged photos, went out on a few dates, had sex, blah, blah, blah. And I can tell you now, if he was dating both of these women at the same time through the app, or dating any other women, any other type of means, he'll probably be doing the same thing with the new wife. Yeah, I said it. Because you got to get a timeline of one. How many women he was talking to on the site? How many women he made promises to? What was their conversation? Did he make full promises to her? Yeah, I'm going to be with you. Yeah, I like you. Yeah, I'm in love with you. Yeah. But he chose this one instead in Alabama. So was he living in Knoxville? Number one. I'm assuming she lived here because the complaint is filed here in federal court in Knoxville, Tennessee. So at some point he was up here living. Met her on the site. They became cool, blah, blah, blah. But you can hear it seeming like the woman knew of her, saying they were hiking friends. So you don't really know what he told her. Because this is what it says. When the intended victim was informed of the threat by authorities, she said her husband and Sasser were hiking friends in Knoxville before he moved to Alabama. Well, sweetheart, that's what he told you. Oh, yeah, that chick over there, we were hiking friends. But see, the part that don't make no sense is if they can track her movements through data that she met him on the date site, then it's bullshit that it was just friendship, because you have no reason to be on a date site and clarifying her just as a friend. So what are you saying? You went on the date site to find friends? You can meet a friend anywhere. You can meet a friend at Food City, Walmart. Come on now. You don't go on a date site just for friends. And you'll hear guys say that in their profiles. Oh, I'm just on here checking things out. Or I'm just on here to meet new friends. Well, a lot of people are on here, the date sites, to get a fucking mate. They're not on here for friendships. You can meet a person as a friend anywhere. Go to the park, meet a friend. You all see what I'm saying. Go to church, meet a friend. Go to work, meet a friend. You meet a friend at the gas station. We don't go on a date site to meet a friend. That makes no sense. But that's the men's ploy, to be subtle. Oh, I'm just looking. I'm just browsing. I'm just seeing what's out here. See, a lot of that is just a ploy. A lot of the men are on there to pick up women for sex, to hustle them, and other nefarious deeds. And you have to know how to weed them out. But you're never going to know because you don't know people. And I've got a funky feeling that he met her, they hooked up, God knows how many times, and then he chose the one he wanted to be with, and he moved to Alabama. But what you have to tell yourself is the obvious. How would Miss Sasser know, number one, that he moved to Alabama? I'll wait. Everybody paying attention? How would Miss Sasser know that you're moving to Alabama? How would Miss Sasser know who you're engaged to? How would she be able to get any information to stalk a random female? This is why you have to pay attention to the details. He has told the new woman about her. Whether he had sex with her or not, or lied that he had sex. He told that new woman about Miss Sasser. For her to say, oh yeah, they were just hiking friends. Yeah, that's the version he gave you. And you might want to be leery of your new husband, ma'am. Because he's going to downplay his role with this nut. Believe that. And what he better hope is that he used burner phones to play around on these apps, date sites. Because I got a funky feeling a whole lot of stuff is going to come out about this fella through his data. And that lady is going to probably be very disappointed when they start reading all that good stuff off in court about how many people he's been talking to, meeting up with, having sex with, so on and so forth. So for his sake, I hope Miss Sasser is the only person he's had as a hiking friend, if you get my drift. You know it had to be more than just a hiking friend, because you met her on a date site. You didn't meet her in a hiking group, and you all just were friends, and she became obsessed with you. You're going to have to show people, and that's the burden of the prosecution, is to prove, how everybody met, this and that. But there's just no way I believe it was purely platonic. I believe he was on the site, dating different people, possibly. They had a common interest in hiking. Probably started out just them going hiking for a date. I don't know. And one thing led to another. I don't think it was just he met her, they exchanged numbers, and she just became obsessed with him solely as a friend. I doubt that. Because she knew too much about the other woman. And for her to send threats and give the information to a so-called hitman that was law enforcement, that means she had knowledge of the other woman. And how would she have gotten knowledge of a complete stranger unless he told her about her? And that means this SOB had to have given out her government name and where she lived. And then Miss Sasser did the rest through Google search and other apps to find the woman. This is dangerous business. See, this is why I tell women, you don't know these men out here. They're just as petty as women. They talk, they're walkie-talkies, they act like they wear panties. Because this woman ain't just found this woman by accident. That guy had to have told her something about that lady, and he still had to have been talking to her to tell her. And what's going to really be disturbing is if we find out the woman that he's married to in Alabama, he might have been dating her first. And they might have been having a long distance relationship. But he was out here still picking up and philandering with other women on the site and other sites. So then you have to ask yourself, how many date sites was he on? How many women was he talking to and misleading? How many women had he had sex with? Was he using protection with this one and that one? He chose Alabama for a reason. But I would be very leery of him because when you start talking about date sites, people getting your personal information and stalking you, you need to be leery of the person that you think is in your corner. And I don't know how long this lady has known this man, but the fact that he moved to Alabama where she is, that is very dangerous. Because if he met Sasser up here in Knoxville, you got to ask yourself what made him decide to choose the lady in Alabama and move down there with her and marry her. And for all we know, he's a scammer. He's on the sites looking for somebody to help fuel his pockets, take care of him. What is his profession? How long has he talked to the woman in Alabama? Had he been talking to her when he met the woman up here in Knoxville? See, you have to ask all those pertinent questions. And I'm sure all that's going to come out in court. Her court hearing is tomorrow in federal court for this murder for hire plot. And hopefully she's got a damn good lawyer. But if we know him to be like typical men that are liars, manipulators, scammers, they'll probably just say he misled her, lied to her, asked her for money. She gave him gifts. He misled her. Here are the text messages to show. He told her he loved her, wanted to be with her. He lied to her. He will be outed. And it'll be up to that woman down there in Alabama if she still wants to coincide with her new husband. Because we've seen men who go on date sites just to bed women, just to have sex. They're married, they're dating other women, they're engaged, they're bisexual, all type of nonsense. And you also have men on there for nefarious reasons to scheme, scam, and also harm women, kill women. See, you don't know people. And I got a notification from a group, what was it, yesterday, that advertised men, and you can put their pictures up there to say, hey, what do you know about this guy? Give me the tea on him. And people comment, oh, he's a good guy. He's got kids. He's this. He's a dog, blah, blah, blah. And it's interesting to hear the comments about the men's pictures. One woman may jump on there and say, oh, yeah, I dated him. He was nice. Run like hell, girl. He ain't no good. He's a liar. He's married. This goes to show you what's out here. And a lot of people have this fixation about men on date sites that, oh, don't talk to nobody on the date site. Don't talk to nobody on the date site. I have said this 1,000 times. Please listen to me carefully. The men on the date site are the same damn men that are walking around out here. I don't know why some of you think they're in a special group. That there's this special group from Mars or Pluto where, oh, The bad ones are on the date site. There are lots of men that are on the date sites. You just don't know they're on there. Just like this Facebook group that's got women posting pictures of men, and then you comment, do you know the guy? And give information about the guy. And that's how you find out if he's been truthful or not. You look at the picture, you might be dating him. And then somebody says, oh yeah, I was with him yesterday. Oh yeah, I dated him 2 months ago. Oh yeah, he's a schemer, he's a scammer, he's a liar, he's got a lot of kids. And this is how you find out about him. They let you post their picture to the group. They got rules and guidelines that you're not supposed to share any of the information outside of the Facebook group. But that's the point I'm trying to make to you all. It's that these men be on date sites. They be out here picking up women in different places, bars, clubs, the gym. You just don't know that. And the men on the date sites are average men. There's not no special group that are on date sites. I don't know why people keep thinking that. Oh, don't talk to people on the date sites. Don't talk to people on the date sites. What difference does it make? A man is a man, a woman is a woman. You could be with a whore and he's not on the damn date site. Hello? You can be with a whorish man or woman and they are not on the damn date sites, plural. They're picking up people wherever they go. So it doesn't matter if you meet somebody on a date site. You've got to quit telling people that. Don't talk to them on a date site. Oh, they're horrible people. Oh, he's horrible regardless. That's the point. If he's a liar, a thief, that is who he is, whether he is on the site or not. That's just an easier way to pick up people, to use people. He doesn't have to now go out to the gym, church, to manipulate, con. He just clicks on a fucking picture, send a message, waits for a response. That is it. Facebook, IG, TikTok, Twitter, it's all the same. Just an easier way to infiltrate. And that's what people need to understand about the internet. Random people are on the internet. Random people are infiltrating the internet, infiltrating the apps, soliciting people for whatever reason. You do not have to know because one, it's none of your damn business and they're not going to tell you. Yes, I'm on a date site. I'm using different pictures, stealing someone's picture, using my own picture, not using a damn picture. I got a profile, several profiles on different sites, picking up women, picking up men, soliciting children. It's all the same. No, your husband, boyfriend, fiance is not going to tell you that. Why would he do that? Why would she do that? So you got to get out your head. There's a certain type of person on the date site. Random people are on there. Trust me. Many men are on there and they have girlfriends. They are married. They're in relationships. And they're soliciting men. They're soliciting women. Some show their picture. Some do not. Some people steal people pictures to scam people, such as foreigners. This is something that a lot of African men do. They put up pictures of white men, black men, and pretend to be them. All you have to do is read the profile, read their responses. And anytime you see the word am, A-M, that's a foreigner. Because we in America, we don't say am, we say I. I am. Most of us use correct English. Am interested in you. Am visiting, Boston. Am in town. Am is a scam. There you go. First rule of internet commentary. Whenever you see the word am, A-M, capital letter A, little letter A, block, delete. That's my commentary for this morning. Many people are out here trying to find their soulmate. And obviously this woman became delusional, detached from reality, chasing in behind this man. She had no right stalking this lady, stalking this man. When he told her he was messing around with this woman or going to marry her or however she found out, she should have let it go. She is not the first one to ever care for somebody, be attached to somebody, however it goes, because I don't know the real emotions. But you have to know when to leave a person alone. We all have liked somebody that was not interested or didn't show us favor or played mind games with us, only came around when they felt like it. You have to leave those kind of people alone. And you can date a guy that seems like a really great guy, and then you find out he's dating another woman or engaged to another woman or he's married. Cut him off. Something I learned a long time ago, and my father told me this, which is the obvious in dating. If you cannot go to his house, goodbye. That's dating rule number 1. Where does he live? He don't got no address. He don't got his own apartment. He don't got his own house. He is not fit to date. Because you're getting ready to get tangled up. And I'm not saying there aren't any good men that are in between places to live, but a stable man will keep one, a car, a job. He won't be in trouble with the law. He has his own home, apartment, condo, shed, barn. He is not living with his mother, sister, cousin, friends, homeboys, shelter. He will have his own. And this is what young women need to be taught. Because this is how young women get caught up with no good ass men. You favor these dudes because they're living with their sister, their mama, their grandmama. You shouldn't even want to be interested in a young man who ain't doing nothing for himself. Even college students have their own apartments. So young people need to focus on people who are visually sound and doing something with themselves, for themselves. You start dating a guy with nothing, you got to pick him up, you got to give him money. It's the start of a downhill situation. Because now he will be codependent. So then he's whistling you, whistling another female, and everybody's catering to him, picking him up, giving him money, bringing him lunch, bringing him dinner. Why would he want to do anything? This is the reason why men continue to exact this type of codependent behavior, using women. We as women have to say, I ain't doing this. I want somebody stable. I want somebody that has his own. And that's how you start out. Choose people of a like caliber. And you usually won't have these terrible scenarios. And it's not to say that even a guy that looks like he's got it together ain't a whore, ain't a liar. Of course. But that's his choice. Her choice as well. This lady has thrown away her life for nothing. She obviously has funds because she's given up almost $10,000 in Bitcoin. She also has hired an attorney to represent her, so she's got some money. But you're foolishly giving your money away to Bitcoin, to law enforcement, and now you're having to pay a lawyer to represent you in federal court for stalking these two people and hiring somebody to kill this lady. You are crazy. Because you get you 12 members of a jury, they may just put your ass away for 15, 20 damn years. And you're an older person, middle-aged white woman. Why in the world would you want to throw away your life for some fucking dude? It ain't worth it. You can't go back now. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. I was joking. It's too late. And we have to be grateful that she didn't actually hire a real hitman to kill this lady. Imagine had she found a real man to run down to Alabama, kill that lady. Just imagine that. That lady should be glad she's alive, because this woman could have actually found a real person to kill her. And the authorities wouldn't have been able to reach out to her because she was already dead. Miss Sasser, you need to go to the Lord, honey. You need to check yourself in. You need to check yourself into the Lord, and you need to ask for prayer and ask God, why did I get myself so attached to this guy to where I would want to kill this woman who he was engaged to and now married to? Because even if the roads had led back to you and that woman got murdered, you would then be facing a murder charge. Way worse than the murder plot. And you better hope 12 members of the jury favor you and only give you a few years in prison, because you're not safe to walk around, because you have detached yourself from reality. And I'm sure a lot of people are sitting here thinking, damn, I didn't know she rocked like that. I didn't know she was this fucking crazy. What do your parents think of you? Your family members? Do you have children? Your co-workers? What do you do for a living? See, this is why we tell people, you don't know people. You don't know what people are capable of. And yes, we all can be pushed to madness. This is when we have to tell ourselves, if we can, I got to get a grip. I'm losing control. I'm obsessed with this man. I'm obsessed with this woman. I'm stalking these people. I'm doing outrageous, outlandish things. I'm acting out. I've become violent. I need to see a counselor, psychologist, psychiatrist. I need to get some help. If you think you're anywhere near where this woman ended up, please get you some help. You don't want to throw your life away for some fucking loser. I'm going to go ahead and say that because I won't doubt he lied to her. He was probably dating her and another woman and other women at the same time. Because as I said, if he wanted to meet other people to hike with, he should have found a hiking group. What are you doing on Match.com? Looking for a fellow hiker friend. That makes sense. Thousands of people hike. You don't go on Match.com to meet hiking friends. And then she happened to be a woman. And it's not to say that men can't have female friends. Come on, do the math. He was on Match.com looking for a woman for obvious reasons. So we have to ask ourselves, when did he get on the date site? How long did they talk, date? Did they have sex? How long was he on the date site with the other woman who he married? Did he meet her on the date site? The one that's in Alabama. How did he meet her? And she's in Alabama. He's in Knoxville. Do the math. Does he have ties to Alabama? Is he from Alabama? Did he go to school in Alabama? Work in Alabama? How did he meet the current wife that's in Alabama? Because how do you go from Knoxville to Alabama? Was he dating and talking to both of the women at the same time? And how did Miss Sasser get information about the new wife? So you have to ask all those questions. You can Google all day, pay those apps to find a person's address, phone number, but you have to use common sense. How would she have known about the woman in Alabama? Because he told her. Bingo card. I can't see you anymore. I'm sorry it didn't work out. You're a really nice lady. I'm involved with somebody else. I'm in love with this lady in Alabama. She's special to me. I've asked her to marry me. I didn't mean to hurt your feelings. This is her name, Susie Mae Jenkins, blah, blah, blah. Now Susie Mae's been stalked by this woman you've been having sex with up here in Knoxville, Tennessee. Because I doubt it was just platonic. Nobody goes and try to kill a woman, the opposition, just for being friends with a man. And I ain't saying we ain't got kooky people that will go ahead and try to plot the death of a person just because they're friends with somebody else. Because you do have some really sick people, but you're sick either way, whether it was friendship or not. with the man. Because most people ain't going to believe they were just friends. The average person is going to say, yeah, you were having sex with Miss Sasser. And then you let her down and you opened your big mouth and you told her about the woman in Alabama. And then she started stalking her and stalking you. And if something had to happen to that woman, you would be the blame. Because how would Miss Sasser know about the woman in Alabama? She would have to have been in your phone, seen her number, got her government name, and gotten information to find her address. So that means you would have had to been in this lady's company if she gained information through your cell phone. Stay woke, everybody. Or you just opened your big mouth and you told her everything. And men like that, I don't care for. The worst thing, besides a meddling woman, is a meddling man. A walkie-talkie. A scream queen in pants. And what will be even more sickening is if we find out he was willing and dealing different women simultaneously, and he just happened to choose the one in Alabama. And this happens all the time when there was no internet, no apps, no date sites. It's been going on since the beginning of time. Men dating and sleeping with various women, and one day they decide to choose the one, but we know that usually even if they choose the one, they will still cheat on her and have sexual relations with other women. And this woman needs to be very leery because, as I said, what will be probably very devastating to her is if she finds out he was tangled up with her and Miss Sasser and others at the same time. Miss Sasser goes to federal court tomorrow here in Knoxville, Tennessee. I will bring you an update. I want to thank you for your time. Thank you for supporting this network. Please check my community page for said updates, breaking news, and polls. Please take the polls. Let us hear your opinion pertaining to breaking news and said subject matter. Please go in my library. It's very extensive. I have thousands of videos of breaking news and various topics. My latest topic is Natalia Grace. Please give me your opinion pertaining to that storyline. ID has a 6-part documentary pertaining to the young lady who was deemed an adult by her adoptive family. Weigh in, give me your opinion. Like, share, subscribe to other platforms. And if you'd like to donate to this network, $ Big Angie, 129 Cash App. Stickers and chat to welcome during the live stream. Thank you, Coleslaw. Thank you all for tuning in. I will possibly do another live before this evening. Once again, ladies, beware of the company that you keep, and men as well. Get to know the person that you desire. Be very leery about who you take home, whose home you go into. Sharing personal information, giving out funds, money. Do not do that. You don't know people. And know that if you meet someone on a date site, that there's a chance that he or she is also talking to other participants on the site and out in the general public. And there's so much temptation now with women for men that they just can't seem to be monogamous. And you're seeing it with women that are in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, so on and so forth. It is hard for the average woman to find a mate, someone that's going to be faithful to her, dedicated to her, loyal to her, truthful to her, because there's so much temptation with other women out here. Because there's more women, obviously, than men. And especially with the Black population, we just have more women than men. And if a Black woman wants to date a Black man, her choices are limited, especially when it comes to a self-sufficient Black man who's on top of his game and he's on the right path, working, sustainable, not in trouble with the law, not an addict, not an alcoholic, and likes to keep his pee-pee in his pants it's probably not even 1%. And that's a sad thing to say. But this country has more Caucasian and other races than African American, and it is what it is. And even if a black person is to go to a demographic where there are more black people, you're still limited because a lot of the men just refuse to be monogamous. So sometimes you have to decide, do you want to stay in your race, ladies, black women? Possibly go outside of your race to find you a mate. Because we do know in this country we have more Caucasian people in this country. And some women may not want to date a white man. But my thing is, happiness should be more important. And life is short. And as you get older, the dating game becomes very grim. And the pickings are slim. And why not find happiness? We all deserve happiness, if indeed we're deserving of it. Because some people really are not. And when you're out here manipulating and using people, you're not deserving of happiness. And it is your choice, whoever you decide to take up with. And my message to Miss Sasser is that you made a grave mistake by hiring someone to kill this lady. And for your sake, you ought to be very grateful she is alive. Because if you had found someone to kill her, you would be facing a murder charge. Prayers to this woman who's on the receiving end of the threats. And I pray for her sake she doesn't find out any more crazy nonsense pertaining to her new husband. Because that would be devastating to her, to find out she's been dating a liar. We will see. Be very careful of the company you keep out here. Get to know the person that you are wanting to spend time with. As they say, check their background. Talk to people that know them. Verify where they work, where they live. And if you already know that they live with somebody else, dating somebody else, married, getting a divorce, it's probably best that you don't coincide with them. And that's some people may say it's judgmental, but you really don't know people. And one thing we've learned about people is that they will tell you anything. Words are cheap. Actions have substance. You've been listening to the Vault XL.